Mic check, 1 2 1 2. I'm trying to understand exactly what you want me to do because it's something that you don't ask from a fool. I'm just a really cool dude with a really cool crew. Type type shit. What's up, guys? That was a blooper because I was just checking the mic and everything, and it sounded great, so I just thought to leave it in. But man, today's topic is going to be pretty serious, actually. So this is 10 things I wish I did 10 years ago. Now I said I'm 27. I'm almost 28, a couple months literally, and I'm just going to say 10 years ago. When I was 18, there's a lot of things before that that I should have did, but I didn't. So let me just start by saying this. Man, when I say, oh, the hardcore gamer all my life, I mean it, bro. Whether it be as a 5-year-old playing Power Stone, Raid Dog, Sonic Adventure 2, Dragon Ball Z, Budokai Tenkaichi 3, I was playing the game all day long, bro. That's for real. And I used to legit wake up on the weekends watching cartoons, then I'd play the game, and then I'd go outside, then come back, and then I play the game, and then I go back to sleep. But before that, I was on the game. So that's just allowing you guys to understand who I am, right? And not much change as an adult, bro. Instead of school, I go to work. Almost 28. There's a lot of things I wish I either knew or did when I turned 18. Mainly monetary things, and maybe even things about females and myself. But as you can see, you're gonna find out here soon. So let's just get started with the things I wish I knew and did when I was 18, bro. I'm gonna just pour it all out for real, bro. So, man, first things first, bro. I wish I knew how to invest. I wish I even knew what it was. When I was 18, I had no idea what investing even was. I never even heard the word, bro. So, long story short, even as something as simple as a 401k, bro, and a Roth IRA. Little did I know back then, these are powerful tools that can give you money in the future by setting aside a portion of your paycheck to save for your future self, bro. And the coolest thing is, I'm not sure, but once you get around 4K, you can borrow from yourself instead of borrowing from some random cash advance place. Because you know how these cash advance places do. You're going to pay interest. And if you get a 401k and you don't pay interest, then you're golden. You just pay yourself back. You pay that 401k back, and that's all there is to it, bro. And guess what? If you take a long time to pay it back, say like 2+ years, and it's like a thing that you can do. You can literally select how long you want to take to pay it back. And if you take a long time, like 2+ years, then yes, you will be paying interest. But guess who that interest goes to? It goes right back to your 401k. So the interest isn't just, oh, just paying this money back and calling it a day. No, this is money that you can borrow from yourself, and then the interest goes back to yourself as well, bro. That's something I never even knew back in the day. I had absolutely no idea. It's just super crazy. It's super cool. And I don't even know about the Roth IRA. I just heard that it stacks money faster than the 401k. But, people say buy assets, own assets. These are things I had no idea about back in the day, though. I mean, I did get on Robinhood every now and again, and you know, I used to have a couple of Tesla stocks and stuff like that, but I sold those things when I went to buy a car that I shouldn't have bought, and that's just all there is to that. So yeah, definitely, I'm about to get back on it, starting this check literally. But man, my goal these days, dude, I am going to start investing more. I investing into something. Whether it's just starting this check, I'm about to get back on it. For real. Like I said, Tyson Foods. I didn't say that, but I put it in my notes. Tyson Foods, like certain dividend stocks like Apple, dividend stocks, because eventually, dividends pay you a little bit every quarter. It's not a lot, but it's the fact that you buy something and you get paid from it later. And that's not obviously the only stock, but dude, like, okay, let's just say it like this. 18 years ago, or not 18, when I was 18, if I knew about Nvidia stock, dude, I'd probably have over 100K in my bank account, in my stocks, in my portfolio, bro, because Nvidia is like one of the stocks that went up rapidly like a crypto. And my gosh, oh my gosh, if I knew about that back in the day and I bought it, oh man, you getting this. But hey, that's just me saying things. But I do have the 401k. Finally, I do have a decent 401k. Been saving up for 2 years. Not as much as I should have put in, honestly, but still enough to where it's actually a good amount. It's not a great amount, but it's more than I've ever had. So it's good to me. That being said, man, we're gonna get on to number two, bro. Because at the end of the day, this is real life stuff. Number two has nothing to do with money. Nothing to do with money. Just gonna say it. Just gonna say it. Honestly, I wish I got with my high school crush back in the day, you know what I'm saying? And man, this is kind of a whole story. But I'm just gonna say it like this, bro. I had the beautiful female that I was interested in high school, bro. And she was interested in me, dude. And I pursued a relationship with her, actually. But I let a guy's, I let a guy's quotation mark lies. I don't even know if he was lying or not. But I let his lies get in the way of me following through with a possible relationship with her. And I ran away from the whole situation like a coward, bro. Instead of facing the situation head on. And I'll just break it down, bro. I strongly believe that I really should have just been like, hey, real talk. I should have just went up. Let me just break it down, bro. So I was with this girl, you know, she was beautiful, and I was like, hey, would you date me if I asked you out? And she said, yeah, I give it a shot. And I was like, oh, okay, okay. So let's go out then. And then she said, yeah, okay. And then I went to go tell the homie. I was like, bro, I just asked her out and she said yes. And he was like, bro, I smashed. And I was like, what? He was like, yeah, bro, I smashed. Peep the mystery box though. Anyways, and I'm like, dude, but she told me she was a virgin. And I don't remember where this came up in conversation, but I do remember that it did come up in conversation before I told him about me about to go out with this girl, right? And he told me that he smashed, and she told me she was a virgin. I'm like, are you serious, bro? Like, real talk? He was like, yeah, I'm not joking. And I was like, all right, bro. Well, shoot, I'm not really interested in her then because, you know, like, what do I look like? You know what I mean? Like an idiot, like a fool, like a dumb. You know, she told me she was a virgin, and then apparently she's lying, and we're about to go out. I'm like, look, I ain't no fool, bro. And if you say you're the homie, I don't think you lied to me. And he was like, wait, you really trying to go out with her for real? I was like, yeah. And he was like, look, bro, I was just joking, man. I don't know why I lied, but I was just trying to seem cool and stuff. And I was like, dude, I don't know who to believe now because, like, I don't know if you're just saying that because you feel bad for me or if you're, like, being straight up serious and stuff. So I just said, look, I'm not even interested no more, dude. Like, just, I don't even want to talk to her no more for real. You can just tell her I said no. Because I was, like I said, the coward part. So with that part, I ran away from the whole situation and I never looked back. And I mean, I know of her today, but I don't know her, not anymore. You know what I'm saying? And I also strongly understand this part as well. The reason I probably even feel this way today is simply because I don't have a girlfriend right now. And that's facts. I don't have a girlfriend right now. You know what I mean? Like, if you have a girlfriend and she treats you well at this time and point in time, what's there to miss? You know what I mean? Like, what's there to miss? That was pretty much a blip. That was pretty much nothing. You know what I mean? So, have I had a girlfriend after that? Yeah, but not anything long term. Not gonna lie. So I highly understand that a big reason why I might even feel this way in the first place is because I don't even have a girlfriend right now. Like if I had a girlfriend right now in a healthy relationship, I probably wouldn't even be tripping. I wouldn't even be thinking or talking about her. I'd be like, shoot, I'm chilling. But you know, so I'm just putting that out there that I do understand that that's probably why I even care. You know what I mean? So with that being said, I mean, the reason I even put that out there is because, like, yeah, if I were to had a relationship with her, maybe I'd at least learn, you know, like, not even just have a relationship, but just confront her about that instead of running away. Because now it's like whole thing, like, oh, now you never know. Now you never know. Well, it's better to know and to feel pain and loss than to never have known and keep asking that question because that question is useless because that question is nothing and it's literally in the past. So it's kind of useless information, but you still want to know it because humans they have this main character syndrome that they end up thinking that their life matters more than a lot of things and they want their questions answered regardless of whether it hurts someone else or not, or not even just that, but just for regardless of the reason they just want to know. And that's kind of how I am at this moment, but I think it's all good and I still have that understanding of hindsight to where I know that I'm probably just not in the reason I'm feeling the way is because I'm not in a good relationship right now. So I think that's enough knowledge to go straight to number 3. So I'm not gonna lie, this is another pretty big one, man. I like I said, I'm spilling the beans, bro. But I wish I got along with my mom better. And man, back in the day, I didn't really have a good relationship with my mom. Like back in the day, it was cool. But let me explain a little bit. So I lived with my grandma until I was 14 years old. So literally from birth all the way up to 14, I was living with my grandma. I see my mom every 2 weeks, and same deal with my dad. I see him every 2 weeks. But I kind of feel like, and this is a weird thing, but I kind of feel like my mom like had like maybe a resentment for herself that she just couldn't admit. I really don't know. But my guess is that she basically, I'm not gonna lie, dude, I did not know I missed that ammo box. I was wondering why I had no bullets. But let me just leave that alone. But yeah, when it comes to my mom and stuff, I just didn't know her well enough. And until I was 14, I lived with my grandma. Life was good. You know, like I wasn't tripping on anything. I was like, I mean, yeah, I might not live with my mom, but I'm chilling. My grandma's right here. You know, it's not like I'm crying about it. I see her every other week. Life's good, legitimately. So that's the thing, right? Okay, I view my mom more as an aunt, if I'm being straight up, right? And the reason for that is because who do you see on the weekend instead of your mom and dad? Maybe aunts and uncles? But the thing is, I never viewed my dad as my uncle because even though I seen him every other week too, like we would talk more and he just expressed himself a whole lot more. You know what I mean? He just expressed himself a whole lot more. My mom wasn't extremely expressive either. So I never really felt like the whole motherly love, if I'm being straight up with it. I mean, my grandma was there, so she, did the good job for that. But like from my actual mom, not really. A hug felt like kind of one of those forced hugs where you're like, oh, huh, nice to see you. Okay, get off me. Like stuff like that, bro. And I'm not even joking, but it was kind of funny though. But anyways, so I'm just putting that out there. My mom and me just didn't have a super great relationship. It wasn't terrible way, way, way back in the day. And it's not bad now. Maybe, I mean, technically it is bad because it's not good. It's supposed to be great. You know what I'm saying? Parents and children are supposed to have great relationships, not alright relationships. So, yeah, I wish I got along with my mom better back in the day. But back in the day, it was like when I was like 10, 11, 12, cool. But let me just go ahead and say this, right? So, like I said, when I was 14 years old, that was the day I started living with my mom. Not the day. Yeah, it was the day because my birthday's in the summer, actually. So, yeah, during my birthday month, I was told that I was going to start living with my mom instead of my grandma. Now, I'm over there in Wichita, Kansas, right? Living, having good times, blah, 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 this, that, and the other. And guess what happens after that summer? Okay, so not only am I going to be living with my mom out of the blue after my 8th grade year, but not only that, I'm moving from Kansas to Georgia in the same summer, all the way to Georgia? Georgia where the peaches be? Georgia where the ocean is? Georgia at least 4 states away from Kansas? 4 states, not even 4 cities, 4 states, bro. 16 hours driving time. So as soon as I heard that, I'm like, bro, I'm never seeing these people again, bro. And that's a fact. Now, obviously, I still saw them during the summer and stuff, and I still had conversations every now and again. But let me just go ahead and say it like this, bro. I was very uninterested in doing that. And for that simple oh yeah, let me actually explain why we're moving that far away. It's because my stepdad was in the military and my mom and stepdad got married. So boom, bada boom, bada bing, now we're gone. It's just a thing. So, I'm not gonna lie, dude. When I found out, first of all, I protested the whole thing. I protested the whole time. I protested to my mom. I protested to my dad. I protested to my grandma. My grandma was like, well, it's just about that time that you just do what it's like live with your mother. It's time. It's time. It's time. And the thing is, like, the conversation wasn't had between me and my mom. Or, you know what I'm saying? Like, about this stuff. It was just had between my mom and my grandma, I guess. And I was just notified of what was going to happen next. And I'm like, you do know I'm a human being. You do know that this is a big thing. And I'm just going to be straight up honest, bro. I didn't get a damn apology. I didn't get a damn, I know this is a lot, but this is, no, I just gotta, okay, yeah, this is what's about to be happening. I'm like, man, who the fuck are you? Like, I'm not even about to lie, bro. At that point, I'm really thinking, like, who the fuck are you? Because it's like, dude, you're not even really there in my life. And now you're all I have in my life. I didn't fuck with that at all, bro. So when I found that information out and my protest went unanswered, like unheard, even from my dad, like he said he wanted to fight for me, but he just didn't think he could afford it. He kind of had a pessimistic view on the whole situation, and I'm not gonna lie, I do have to blame him a little bit for that, bro. Because at that point I'm 14, I can't fight for myself. I just like if I run away, that's illegal. So I can't really fight for myself. I can only talk. That's all I could do. So I do put some blame on him. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. And he already knew. He blamed himself too because he was just my grandma was never really for my dad being the guardian of me. She just didn't really trust him as a parent, even though he never showed signs that he couldn't do things. He genuinely never, as far as I'm concerned, because I am the kid. I was born and I didn't understand anything until I was 5 years old. But as far as he's been my father, he could always handle business, and he did that with my other siblings who don't have the same mother as me. So he always did what he's supposed to do. Rip teddy bear. Honestly, since I say that, rip, rip, dad, man, love you, man. Dad, unfortunately passed last month, and I still can't believe it. But it's just, it happened. It's just so weird. I didn't mean to drop that up on y'all, but since I said that rip teddy bear and I was talking about my dad, I was like, that would be disrespectful not to say that from my own father. The rip teddy bear was more of a joke, but, you know, things are things. But regardless, I'm just gonna get on with the story, man. Like, I really and truly did feel resentment from my mom because, like, it's like she just made a big decision for me out of nowhere, and I'm like, I'm gonna say it. I'm so sorry. I really, if my mom, if you're listening to this, like, I'm sorry. I don't want to say this, but it's just like in my head, I'm like, I don't even want to say it, bro. Because just thinking that my mom could see it, but I'm gonna say it, bro. You haven't. I don't even want to say it, but I'm gonna say it, bro. Sorry, mom. If you hear this, I do love you, but like in that time in my head, I'm like, but you're not even acting like my mom. So how do you just take me across the country, not asking anybody for permission, especially not me? My friends and my family are staying here, and I'm not. And then you're my family, but we haven't really been acting like family because I don't live with you. And that's not really it. But let me just continue. That's just my feelings on the matter. And it really, I'm not gonna lie, bro, I really feel like that kind of stunted my emotional growth and all types of stuff, bro. But regardless of even if it did or if it didn't, I can't just blame her for my whole life. You know what I mean? Or even if it's like legitimately genuine and legitimately true, I still can't blame because I'm still a whole human and no one's gonna help me like I'm supposed to help myself because except for God himself, you know what I mean? But I still am going to tell the truth and how I feel about a situation, bro. So not only that, like I said, I grew to start to resent her, man. Saw her as a selfish, narcissistic person, if I'm being straight up honest, bro. The only trait that we shared at that point in time was my resemblance to her because, bro, when I say I look just like her, oh my gosh, it is uncanny, dude. And I mean, if you see my face and her face, you'd be like, oh yeah, that's your mom. That's all there is to it. So it's so funny that two people that look so alike are so different. You know what I mean? Almost to the point to where it's like we have nothing to do with each other in the sense of likes, wants, goals, and personality. It's so strange. We do have one personality trait in common, and I don't like it because our awkwardness. Golly. Golly. That's all I can say. Like, we're both pretty quiet, but hey, it is what it is. I don't know. I just know that from what I've seen when I used to live with her. It's been literally years. So, and I've been trying to switch up how I act too. I try to be a better, not just better, but like more entertaining person. And I am honestly, but I'm one of those guys who, when my social battery runs out, bro, if I could teleport home, I would. So I'm just gonna put that out there. But like I said, man, the only trait that we shared is our looks, bro. And at the end of the day, I didn't hate her. I know I said I had resentment, but I didn't hate her. I just felt really uncomfortable even living in the same household and even taking orders from her simply because nothing felt natural. And when I say taking orders from her, I mean like just her telling me to take out the trash, take out the do laundry, do whatever. I never actually did laundry, so let me stop. But doing the dishes, it's like when she told me to do it, it just didn't feel right, bro. It was like, bro, who is this person ordering me around, bro? Like, like you see how I'm starting to get a little attitude? Like, I'm not joking. I didn't get an attitude when she told me to do it. I just said okay, like any kid should. You know what I mean? I did just say okay and did it, but I wasn't happy. I was not happy with my situation, and I allowed my hatred of my situation, not for my mom, but the situation that she put me in. Because, like I said, no, no, oh man, sorry that I'm doing this. Sorry that it's a change, but it's just more like, yeah, this is what's going to happen, and this is your life now. I'm like, I really am low key a prisoner, bro. So what I'm trying to say about the whole thing, like, man, for 14 years, bro, I only saw her every other week, and then now we shared the same house. I was legit either in my room or outside because of the betrayal I felt from her, bro. Like when I say that no permission granted, just tell you what to do, I felt betrayed, dude. Because like I said earlier, it was literally, this is your life now. And my life was pretty good before that. So it really felt like it was only worse. And I'm not gonna lie, dude, I feel like a terrible big brother because I had a little sister and a little brother like during that time too, that was born. Well, my little sister was already born, but it doesn't matter. What I'm trying to say is that like since I was in my room all the time, I didn't really feel like doing anything with the family. I barely even play with my own siblings, bro. And I feel awful for that. Like I didn't know I would feel awful for that, but I do. Because at the end of the day, it was just like I hated my whole life. I never asked anybody to do that in my life. And now I'm allowing it to affect my relationship with my own family because I just didn't like my situation. I didn't care for it. And I didn't want any part in any of it, regardless if it was the right thing or the wrong thing to feel. I just didn't like. I feel like how I felt about everything was right because I was the one being wronged. But in me feeling like I was being wronged, I allowed myself to wrong my own other family who had absolutely no right to be wronged for the simple fact that they were just born into the situation too. Now, I will say, they're chilling. Like, they might miss me, but they're chilling, bro. Their life's pretty good. So, I might feel bad for the parts that I didn't do, the parts that I didn't help, the parts that I wasn't there for, like just being a good big brother because I felt so sad and sorry for myself, like a pathetic idiot. But they're still chilling, bro. They're still chilling. Like, look, if I'm being straight up honest, they are great. They are Gucci. They are 100 times better than I was back then. So they're chilling. But I just had to put that out there. I still do feel bad for like just not playing with them enough, like just not hanging out with them enough because I felt so bad for myself that I allowed that to get in the way of actual family time, I was like, oh no, I feel bad for myself, man. Forget all that other stuff, bro. I don't know y'all people. Like, even though I didn't literally say that, but that's how I was acting now, and I don't like that about myself. I actually kind of beat myself up about that quite often. And I even feel like rightfully so because I shouldn't be feeling and just acting like that. That's silly. So I'll put that out there and be honest, bro. But yeah, man. So like I said, man, I felt like I lost all my friends and my families in an instant, bro. And I did call my one friend from back then and my family once a week, so I still had contact for sure. But I wasn't over there every other week. I had to wait till the summer or holidays, but the holidays never happened because my mom and stepdad just weren't willing to do that. And I think my dad also, like, my dad wanted it, but like I think he felt like, now I don't know, this is all speculation at this point, but I do believe they just couldn't get things together. I think they wanted my dad to pay half, and my dad was like, you're the one that took him, you should pay for him to be here. I'm not paying anything. That's not right. I do believe I'm right. I do believe I'm correct, but I'm not sure either. But I do just believe that because my dad was promised a holiday, at least like Christmas and stuff. He was promised that for me, and they didn't deliver. And I feel like he felt like they were supposed to deliver the whole thing, like plane tickets, all that stuff. But it just never happened because when it comes down to spending money, they just weren't about that. And they were saving money too. And my mom was an Uber saver, and I'll even say this because, dude, I just noticed things. I had a brain for whenever I felt like I was being wronged, but not a brain for the right things, Because, like, there was times where, we would all go to the State Farm or, like, I don't know, some kind of fun place to go to, and we would have a great time. But the moment we went back home, I was in my room. I was like, all right, we're good. Bye. And, okay, I'm just going to say the things that I felt wronged for, even though I probably shouldn't, but I don't know. I just couldn't help it, man. Like, there would be times to where, my stepdad would be like, oh, want to get the kids some ice cream? And my mom would be like, nah, they're good. And then we need to save our money. And then, it's it's honestly more smart than not, you know. And then my stepdad would be like, "Oh, we should get TJ some clothes." That's what they call me, TJ. We should get TJ some clothes. And be like, my mom would be like, "Oh, he's fine. He has clothes." But then they'll literally turn around and get my little sister some clothes, like right then and right there. And I'm like, bro, for real? And at that point, I didn't say it. I honestly wish I did, because I feel like it would have helped me actually, like, just be straight up honest about it. And I felt like saying, "Why do you hate me?" I really felt like saying it, but I just didn't have the balls to say it, bro. I did not have the balls to say it. And I just couldn't. I just couldn't say it. Because I just felt like it was too far, but at the same time, I really should have just said it. But, because if I were to have said it, then I feel like we'd be in a better situation, because she didn't have to be put on the spot and say, "I do not hate you. Why do you feel like that?" But later on in life, I kind of said something similar. I just felt like, I said that I felt like I wasn't really loved back then, stuff like that. And this is where the narcissistic part, in my personal opinion, comes into play. She said, "I'm sorry that you felt that way." But I never hated you, and you were never not loved. I'm sorry that you felt that way. But we always loved you. I always loved you. And I just felt like I just feel like my mom talked to me like a corporate person, bro. And I really mean that. Because she has that little aura about her to where she will do the corporate hug, the little pat thing, little patty hug, and then the fake smile, and oh man, the voice too. Oh my gosh. I think we share similarities that I don't want to acknowledge, like the whole social battery thing, but her version of the social battery just comes out completely corporate, and she forces it. Everything feels so forced with her, bro. And that's why I'm like, sheesh, I cannot be honest with this lady. And not being honest, but more like I can't be straight up and feel like I'll get something real out of it. Because I will say, man, like there was a time where I did say, like, I really don't even want to admit this. I don't even want to admit this part, because it's actually like, it sounds that bad. And I don't even know if I want to say it, because I don't even know if I don't even want to say it, bro. Because even if I meant it one way, it'd still be taken as another. And honestly, I'll just say it like this, bro. I'm just gonna say it like this, just to corporatize my version so it doesn't sound so awful. But I basically told her that the way that she talks to me and the way that she treats me just makes me feel like trash. Just makes me feel awful and makes me not feel like being there. And I really told her that. That was the first year too. First year. But she was pregnant with my sister, and I just feel like it was the worst time to even talk to her about anything, now that I'm older and understand what pregnancy can do. But I told her, I just spilled the beans and told her that I just feel like the way that she treats me sucks. It just sucks. So I really did put that out there. I put it out there to where I let her know that I just didn't enjoy my life there, bro. And she just didn't care. She just said the same shit. "I'm sorry you feel that way." And I just feel like you're making it to where I'm the problem. You're not taking any responsibility. You don't care. You're just sad that I feel that way, but you're not sad as to the reason I feel that way. You don't, like, that's just me. And if I'm crazy, please tell me. Please, please, please tell me. Because my mom isn't a terrible person, but I do see some narcissistic qualities in her to where I just disengage, and I don't really want to even continue a conversation with her. Because, and then I'll just say another thing, because like I said, she's not a terrible person, but it's easy to, negative energy is so much easier to hold on to than positive. So I'll just say that first and foremost. But I don't know why I'm over here praising praising the ammo box like this. Look at me, just trolling so hard. But anyways, dude, like the narcissistic qualities, like whenever I would try to have a conversation with her, she would cut me off back to back to back to back until I just stopped talking. And then I was so disengaged from the conversation, I just wanted it over with. I was like, all right, I don't want to talk anymore. Now I know that sounds a little silly and stuff, so I'll give you that, you know what I mean? But ultimately, dude, yeah, there was just certain times to where like I just felt like I couldn't handle a conversation with her. And not just that, but I just didn't want to anymore. And I just gave up altogether. I just gave up, man. Like I said, I still talk to my mom to this day every now and again. It's like once every 2 months. I'm not gonna lie to you, bro. You know, just to check on everybody, to see everybody doing good. And like I said, it's much better now, but I feel like it's much better now because I only speak to her on the phone. And like I said, I don't hate her, but damn, I don't really feel like talking to her either, though. So I really hate to say that, but it's just the truth. It's just the truth, bro. But I will just still say I wish that I got along with her more, because if I were to had said screw the anger, screw the resentment, and just lived a better life, happier, forced myself to, then I'd be in a better spot, because misery loves company, you know what I mean? And being miserable is never fun. And I didn't want anyone else to be miserable, of course. But I'm not going to sit here and say I was straight miserable, but I wasn't happy, that's for sure. And since I wasn't happy, I also was like just not doing that great. Man, I don't even know how to explain it for real. But what I can say is that regardless of all that, bro, I personally wish I made more of the time that I lived with my mom instead of being in my feelings about the whole situation, because it was 4 whole years that I lived with her. And by the end of it, I moved out immediately and I never looked back, bro. I still talk to her every now and again, like I said, but it never feels natural. It's like a fat L. It's like you just forcing it because you know you need to, because that's your responsibility. And yeah, I definitely made things harder for myself by shielding myself from her and also moving out to pay my bills, bro. Pay all my bills on my own. That's actually the next thing that I'm going to talk about. So I wish I stayed with my parents for a year longer, specifically my mom, because I did live with my dad at one point in time for like a year, for like 6 months once, and then a year the next time, and both times were just not good. Like they were good at first, but they never ended that good. They never ended good. But with my mom, and my stepdad, I wish I'm piggybacking off of the other thing, but I do really wish I stayed maybe just a year longer. Because at the end of the day, I made my life more expensive by leaving the house to be on my own. And now I had a good reason though and everything, because I just felt very uncomfortable. I didn't really feel like my home was my home. And those 4 years of living with my mom's stepdad, we moved 3 times: off base Columbus, Georgia, on base Columbus, Georgia, and to Kansas City. And after I graduated high school, KC, they were going to move to Nebraska. And I have finally gotten some more good friends again for the third time that I wanted to keep. And I was sick of moving, so I stayed in KC. But if I had my mind right and knew what I wanted to do for college and stuff, I could have lived with them rent free for, bill free. My stepdad probably would have charged me 200 a month. And if I just knew what I wanted to do with my life at that point, even just a little bit of certificate, college, anything, I could have lived with them for the rent free and all that stuff and just focus on actually getting things done that could help me for the further part of my life. Probably could have made a good little 25 an hour way earlier than today. You know what I mean? And because 25 an hour now is not like, yeah, it's still good money, but bro, imagine making 25 an hour like in 2018 though. My word, life would have been great. I was making 14 back in that day, so life was good. But imagine putting 11 extra dollars on that. Oh my, you know. But what I'm trying to say is that if I were to live with them a little bit longer and just like had a better relationship with my mom in the first place, things would have been different. I do believe I still would have had my friends here in KC, but I just would have been more financially set and maybe even emotionally set better too. So yeah. And then this also kind of segues into my last point. So the last thing I wish is back then, actually, maybe before 2018, me and my friends, my 5 friends, were genuinely talking about buying a house together. And you see where I'm going with this. We were talking about all putting our names on the lease, all that, whatever stuff, and putting our money together, 5 piles of money in one, right? Buying a house, renting to own. And that was our goal. But I mean, I was in for it. I was like, that's a great idea. My homie brought it up and I was down for it, and then my other 3 homies just weren't. And since they weren't down for it and the plan was 5 of us, that kind of just made it seem unrealistic, so we didn't go for it. And for that reason, We don't own it. I mean, one of our homies owns a house. Actually, the guy who brought the idea up owns a house now. He has a whole house, and I don't. I live in an apartment. So with that being said, I was going to say, I wish that I actually went through with it though, and just made me and him. You know what I mean? Be like, hey, bro, let's do this, dude. Because at the end of the day, man, I'm not about to sit here and do this blah 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 stuff. You know, what we're gonna do, we're gonna get this house together, and we're gonna show these other homies that we got that we can do it, and that we're going to get it done, and we're gonna be happy living happily in this, and then maybe they'll even join us in the end. You know what I mean? And join us on the lease later on after we show them what's really going on and that we can do this and that we are doing it. Because look, I do own a business, but I haven't done anything with it. But I do want to say this part. I showed my friend the fact that I owned a business, that I bought it, I got an agent, did all that stuff. And then the moment that I told him that, he immediately wanted to buy his own business, start his own business. And it's just the fact that you go for something and you show and not just tell. You actually have it, you actually are doing it. And for that reason, people respect it and they want to copy. If it's good, obviously, then why wouldn't they? You know, it's not even a bad thing. So lead by example is what I'm pretty much saying. And I really do believe that if I were to have done that, all of us would have been in the home because they would have just followed suit because they seen that it's a good endeavor. So yeah, that's mainly it. That's so far. I might make a part two one of these days. I don't know, but I think I already spilled my guts out enough for now. That was 5 things that I wish I did when I was 18. Because I just believe my life would just be better. You know, we all think what if. You know, we all think about that stuff. We all do. There's no denying that stuff. But the thing is, yeah, I'm just putting it out there that it's not anything new. So don't ever feel bad if you think about, oh, what if, you know, because I do. But man, I appreciate y'all even joining me for my yap session, joining me, listening up, and being a part of this, bro. Because it really does mean a lot that you guys are even caring enough to go for it and check me out. So with that being said, man, look forward to the next video. I'm hoping for tomorrow. And by that time, we're going to get it going again, bro. This has been Yap a Lot Gaming, and I will see y'all next time. Peace out.